Hello, I'm Kurt Lidke. Oh, hang on. Anna, do you want me to change on screen here before I start to where it says AR Nicholas instead of Anna? I can
Um,
change the text real quick.
if you want.
Sorry, I didn't realize that it was that way for Bride and Zoom. There
It's
we go.
okay. Like I said, I mean, hopefully I'll meet some people at the festival. We'll be lifelong friends. They'll call me Anna.
Okay.
It's,
Well,
you know?
I just changed it on screen to AR
Okay.
for the text overlays.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Kurt Lidke, board chair for Klamath Film, and you just watched Catch and Release, a film about family dealing with an elderly parent coping with dementia and Alzheimer's. With us is the film's director and writer and previous Klamath Independent Film Festival Awards judge, A.R. Nicholas. A.R., thank you for being a part of the Klamath Independent Film Festival, this time as a submitting director.
Thank you, Kurt. I'm really happy to be included.
And you actually have two films in our festival this year. You also have a feature film called Bride and Zoom, which is a very different film in tone and structure from this film that we just watched, Catch and Release. But
Yeah.
making a film about dementia and Alzheimer's, this thing that's personal because I've seen what this disease does to a person directly, and a lot of other people have too. There's no happy ending to dealing with someone who's going through this. What inspired you to want to make a film about such a difficult topic?
It's personal. I have had parents, both parents, who had dementia or Alzheimer's. My stepmother had Alzheimer's, and it's just it's not a happy thing. But the film actually is about the relationship between the adult children who are trying to figure out in their very different ways. One wants to talk about it, and one refuses to talk about it. How to how and what to do with the failing parents and apart from just the failing parents, it's all the parents' stuff. I mean, if you've ever had to go through a parent's garage or basement and seen all the things, the collected stuff from their lives, it's a lot to deal with. And I don't know that everyone does it with equanimity. So that's really what it's about. And at the end of it, and at the end of the film, the brother and the sister connect finally, and you kind of, I hope, feel that they're going to be able to talk about it now.
So since this did come from a personal perspective, how much of the family dichotomy in the film is directly your family? In terms of the
Uh,
way that you wrote it and the way that they're presented? Were you still, coming at it from a narrative experience of trying to tell a story, or was this almost like a therapeutic experience of writing a film about your personal experience?
no, it was more like trying to make a short film that took the truth of my life as its foundation. And the truth of it, of what's in the film, is the inability of four of us to have a civil conversation about how to handle our parent. And that is the kernel of the film. And the rest of it is just okay, we have this house. We shot in the same house where Leave No Trace was shot. Um, it was out in Clackamas County, and the weather didn't cooperate. The weather is very different from my own life. This what happened to me occurred in Northern California with my siblings, and but yeah, you may not know, but I played the mother, the old lady. Did you know that? Did you
I I
recognize me?
I did not, because most of the shots are from directly behind. So,
Yeah.
but I did immediately recognize within the first, again, having seen it, recognize within the first 2 or 3 seconds. It's like I don't even need someone to explain. I know immediately this is a parent who is um, losing bits and pieces of their mind, and they may have good days and bad days.
Yeah.
And right now, it's a bad day. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
seen it.
And the brother
Comically,
stayed. Go
yeah.
ahead. Go.
Comically, though, with this film, some of our screeners who do enjoy fishing got very critical of the fishing techniques on display in this film. I had to remind them that fishing was more the MacGuffin than the focal point of the film, despite the title. So that the finer technical aspects of fly fishing are not as important as the story, but some people were very quick to point that out in the course of
Abs.
reviewing it. And you being a judge, I'm sure you can understand where they're coming from a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But still, why a fishing trip among siblings? Like why build that as the story basis?
We wanted to use this strip of river that we had access to, and we knew a fish wrangler, and we had a fishing guide who was helping with the techniques. So the woman was not supposed to know how to fish at all. So I hope she was convincing. um, and the guy, he fished as a kid. He's not a fisher person either. So it was a way to go back to a place that their mother had taken them. I think there's even a line in there like it hasn't changed, or it's like I remember it. And we tried that a bunch of different ways. We did improv a bunch of stuff. Um, and uh, and so yeah, it was an idea that the guy character had to to get his sister to soften up. He's the softy in it. He doesn't speak, but he's the one who's stayed home. She's the one that's gone off to be a career woman, and she wants to talk about it. She wants to get this done with. She wants to get it dealt with, and we have to find another way in, and so it's his idea to go fishing, to be out on the river like mom had brought them to do, picnics or what have you, in order to soften his sister up so she would feel and stop thinking.
You touched on it a little bit just there, but one aspect of this film that I find interesting is that the dialogue is very minimal in this film. It's much more of an atmospheric piece. Yet we get to really know these characters very well through camera angles and ambiance without necessarily having to add a lot of exposition. Like I said, within the first 3 seconds of the film, the first time that you're on screen, immediately I know, oh, this is a parent dealing with dementia, and here's the caretaker. Uh, I know as a writer myself, it's not the easiest thing to get to know a character without explanation. So, how did you go about developing the characters so well without a lot of communication?
Well, thank you. I worked with my son on this. He shot it and he edited it. We wanted to find a project that we could do together, and he is much less verbal than I am. If anybody saw Bride and Zoom, you'll know it's much talkier than this one. And so I set myself the challenge to try and do things through looking, through not speaking. Um, as I said, the woman in it wants to talk, and the guy's much more reticent. So his uh, his feelings, his inner life, comes out much more through just a subtle look. Um, and there's a pause before he speaks, like, um, "So what do you think?" He finally says at the very end when he's casting in the river, and the sister says, "I've had enough. I'll wait for you in the truck." It's a pause, but we're on his face, and he finally says, "So what do you think?" And I think in that moment, what I wanted to convey was he's been waiting to finally talk, and now she's leaving, and he's messed up in a way. He has failed to get to her, and it's not until he backcasts and catches her, which your Fisher judges probably thought was ridiculous. But I did
there,
have a
there,
fishing wrangler.
there were some comments said like, "You would never cast that way. Like, how dare you put that in a film?" I'm like, guys,
I
it's
love these
not a
judges. I
it's
really
not a
do.
film about fishing.
And I love them for pointing all this out. They're absolutely right. Um, but I did have this fishing wrangler there, and given that these two are not fisher people, what could this happen? My dog is now attacking my foot. Um, But yeah, did I answer the question? I hope.
Yeah. You did mention that you worked on this film with your son. Is this the first time that you two have collaborated on a production?
Yes, it is. I hope to be producing something that he's going to make eventually. Uh, but yeah, we worked really well together. He was fast. He made his criticisms known to me, whether it was about the script or where I wanted to put the camera. But overall, yeah, people were saying, "Wow, that you can do this with your son. That's really great." Because we didn't have a single fight about it.
You've had a very extensive career in the entertainment industry in a variety of different roles on stage, on screen, on TV. But it seems like you had really settled into a career primarily as a writer in recent years. So what
Yeah.
made you want to return to directing?
Hmm. There's a couple things really. It's when you write something and it feels really personal to you, you're not sure that if you hand it off to someone else, they're going to see it the way you see it. And that was certainly the case with the feature. Um, and with this one, it seemed like I really wanted my son and I to be collaborators. He was happy just being the DP on it, but I would ask him directorial questions. And I think that as I've gotten older and not wanted to play the Hollywood game anymore and wait for after my first feature, I don't know if this is appropriate for the interview, but after my first feature, I got signed by a big agent and went around Los Angeles and met with Quentin Tarantino's company, a whole bunch of companies. And what do you want to do next? What do you want to do next? And and I've had friends go through that machine, and some have just never had anything made. They've made money from selling their screenplays. They've, had fun going and cavorting and having parties. But at this stage in my life, I want to make the things. I want to, and it's so fun to get together with a group of people, cast and crew on the same plane, no hierarchy, best idea wins, and make something. That's what's really fun. So I think that's why I want to get back into directing more
As
than
someone who spent 12 years in Hollywood myself before getting chewed up and spit out by the industry, I often
yeah.
say the streets of Los Angeles are paved with the crushed dreams of the young and naive, thinking that move to LA and dot 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 famous, and it just
Right.
it doesn't necessarily work that way in the system.
Not at all, sadly. Well, it does for some. Some get very lucky, and
Yeah,
it's what is that? Um, Opportunity meeting luck is success. So it does happen for some.
yeah.
Opportunity, preparedness, and luck. That is success is meet when opportunity, preparedness, and luck all come together.
Has this short film been shown at other festivals, and if so, what kind of response have you gotten from it?
Has this shown at other festivals? No, it's gotten into. Oh, I know what it was. It got into one, but they want to do a virtual. And I said, I want to wait. I want my first festival to be live.
Oh, great! So
So
we get to have a world premiere for this.
you do. You do. So that
Fantastic.
that was the case. It has been in a virtual festival. It got into that screening and but didn't screen because they had to go virtual. They changed from going live to virtual. So yeah, so and unless you go decide to go virtual, just totally virtual, it'll be the first
Let's
first.
certainly hope not that if we do, that means something really drastic has changed with COVID over the next month. So
Oh gosh, no.
yeah, please
Yeah.
no. This is a film that I hope that when an audience does see it in theater, that it is something that can spark a dialogue. For people like you and I who have seen individuals who have gone through dementia or different stages of Alzheimer's, it certainly hits home to a certain level. But also just as for those who maybe have not seen that firsthand but have heard about it, this to me is a real true to life, day in day out experience of the families that are having to take care of mom or dad now. So, what do you hope that people come away with watching this film that portrays the daily experience of someone who's having to cope with this?
Well, as you say, I do hope it creates a conversation. I don't know if I don't think I've ever said anything about this, but I have a degree in mediation, in alternative dispute resolution, and one of my favorite areas of practice was with adult children um, when they have these kinds of issues about their parents, and it's just a big area. Everyone goes through it, but people aren't prepared. So maybe this will prepare people who are a little younger, their parents are doing fine, but just knowing that the the sister you grew up with that you got along with great has a different idea about what mom needs when she starts to fail than you do. How do you talk about those differences so that you can move forward and do what's right and do hopefully something that both of you can live with? That's what mediation really is. Nobody gets everything they want, but you try and work it out so that mom, your siblings can make what can come to some sort of resolution about going forward, because doing nothing is not a choice, or it's a choice but it's a non-choice and it doesn't help anybody.
I know it's a very serious film, though it does have at least one lighter moment with the fish hook. But and again, our judges disputes with fly fishing technique. But any lighter moments or behind the scenes stories in the course of making this film that come to mind that you want to share?
Yeah, we had a lot of light moments when we were putting that car rig on in the truck, and that was a tough day because the weather wasn't cooperating fully, and people were we didn't our sound was iPhone. People had a microphone and they were recording their own sound, so there were several times when they forget to hit record, so we didn't get their sound. um, what we lost some lunch in the river, um, and um, and Brenda's outfit got waterlogged, had a hole in it, I think. So yeah, it is a serious subject, but we wanted it to have darkly comic moments um, throughout. We cut it down quite a bit. The first cut was 11 minutes, and it was had more humor in it, but it had things in it that didn't need to be there to tell the story. More walking shots, more beautiful shots of the river going by, and that was the collaboration between my son and I. Like, okay, these are your beautiful shots, but are they advancing the film? The story is about Mel and Shelby, and are they ever going to talk about mom? That's that's it. And so we tried to keep it fun, light. Okay, let's go on to the next shot now. And who wants a granola bar? Who wants a beer? But yeah. So anyway, I wanted to have some light moments. There was a whole scene we cut out actually where Shelby snags a fish, but then he loses the fish, and she's kind of like, "Get it, bring it in. What are you doing with it? Are you playing with it?" I wonder what the Fisher judges would have thought about that.
I'm sure they would have had more critiques on technique for being able to secure a fish somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
I know nothing about fishing. I just know that people were very specific and very adamant that the technique displayed in this film was improper for fly fishing.
Okay, maybe we need to go back and record the intro so that I can say this is not a film about fishing properly.
Well, thank you very much, AR, for this film and for joining us. Catch and Release will be screened on Sunday, September 18th at 3 p.m. in our Northern Shorts category and available on demand through the end of September via Eventive for the 10th Annual Klamath Independent Film Festival. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Klamath judges, for including it despite the lack of fishing acumen.